Hey everybody, welcome back in to the channel. Thank you to everybody who watched the first 9 video. It's the most views I've ever had on a video. Had 313 views, which is actually more than my proposal video to my wife, which was
It's at
really
313
cool.
now?
Yeah.
Sorry, Jamie, that's awesome. I had no idea it was that high.
Yeah, you
That's
guys
awesome.
should check out the proposal video. It's also on the channel. But yeah, it was a lot of fun to film, and it was a great first 9. I'm looking forward to this final 9. Do you have any starting thoughts before we just dive right in, Jake?
Yeah, Jacob. So the back 9 on this one were a little bit more open than we were on the front 9 that we had. The trees on the opening 9 or the first video kind of covered it up a little bit more. And so now for your approach shots, you really have to weigh, the risk or reward on this one. Beforehand, you could still try to lay it up and get close and not necessarily have to worry about the wind as much. But now this is the first time that we're really seeing the wind take advantage of some discs on our approach shot. So it's interesting. It's something that you have to change in your game plan. And so I'm excited to see how our card handles it.
All right, well, let's dive on in. All right, so here's how the first 9 rounded out. We had Jake at +3, Brandon at +5, Devin at 6 over, and Austin at 7 over. So we're off to hole 6. It is a 345-foot hole, or feet hole, uphill a little bit, so it plays a tad longer. But it's just a classic forehand throw if you've got it, and you just try to get as close as you can to the basket because it's a windy one, like we've said all throughout the last video.
Yeah, luckily the wind was at our backs on this hole, so you didn't really have to worry about a crosswind as much. It still kind of takes advantage of the disc, but really it's just kind of a grip it and rip it forehand, and you try to throw it above that tree so you don't catch any stray limbs on that left side.
Great drive by you there. Probably put you at, I don't know, 20, 25 feet maybe?
Yeah, on this hole you just really want to look, especially with the wind, try to get a chance for a birdie. Obviously it's pretty wide open, so this is one that if it gets away from you, you definitely want it back. And just right here on Austin, his anti forehand or whatever that he throws right there, it's just beautiful.
Yeah,
I love whenever he gets it right.
Yeah, that was awesome. The wind, you could see the wind kind of push it down a little bit, but it played in perfect to his flex that he was throwing, and that was awesome.
Yeah, and right there, Devin, not a bad shot, just getting right in the middle of the fairway. Should have an easy layup.
There you can see our entourage there in the background.
Yeah, that's our squad. That's a good group right there.
Yeah, it was. We had a lot of fun. Here's Brandon's look. Probably right at circle's edge, it looks like to me there.
Yeah, I'd say so. He gave it a good run. Luckily, there were some trees in the background to kind of knock it down for him, so it wouldn't get too far back there.
There you go. Way to put it in right there. Good putt.
Jacob, this slow-mo. You dog. Look at this. Yeah, I think Jacob got that wrong. I think that was about 60 feet out. It's hard to tell in the video. It looks a lot closer, but I told myself for my lie right here, Austin was so close. I knew to stay competitive in this game, I had to give it a run. The wind, like we were saying, was kind of at our backs, and so I wasn't necessarily worried about what was going to happen with the disc, and I was able to give it a run. And Brandon, nice shot from the trees because
that was no gimme. You could see by the clap there.
Look at the wind on Devin on this hole. That's kind of what Brandon was facing, and right there it can get in your head. So impressed by Brandon, just be able to throw it in there, and then Devin should just have a nice tap out.
Austin taps in pretty much that birdie. Good toss by him. Good stuff. Off to hole 7. It's 372 feet par 3 downhill. That tree right there in the middle likes to collect a lot of discs because they're trying to flex back. You're trying to throw around it. The sun's kind of in the way here, but there is a bit of a creek behind the basket here if you go long. It's not OB or anything like that, so if you do wind up over there, you don't have to worry about it. But this is a gorilla that a local who lives right there in that house made, and he's a big disc golf advocate, helps clean up the course, just good Samaritan kind of guy, and I wanted to show you guys that funny gorilla there in the background.
A great guy, always makes for great conversations once you get to this hole. I think we missed my first shot, but basically I just kind of turned it over too much, and I made it a good ways down the fairway, but just far left, not really where you want to be. Like Jacob,
pretty close to number 6 tee box. Yeah,
right in front of the tee box. Actually, I had to. Yeah, I didn't do myself any favors on it. I had to yell 4. And you can see the guys right here. The whole time I was kind of getting this dialed in, they're making fun of me for being too close to them. So they were some good guys. We were out there having fun. They're in the rec league like me, but I just kind of gassed it. Instead of keeping it low to the ground, like I said earlier, you kind of have to change your game plan up a little bit, and I didn't factor that in at the beginning. I just tried to grip it and rip it and just let it fly.
Yeah, back-to-back of sailing it a little bit too long. Austin makes the adjustment, drops it right underneath the basket pretty much. Great upshot by him.
No, yeah, this is a great hole for Austin for sure.
And it's been a while since we've seen Brandon throw, but he is absolutely parked about maybe 10 feet from the basket. So we get to watch these other guys for a little bit.
Yeah, you get to watch me for a minute. No spoilers or anything. But right there, that disc normally would have probably settled within 5 or 6 feet, but just kind of carried it out left. And at this point, I was kind of in my own head a little bit about the wind, and no spoilers or anything, but not what I wanted to see.
On that throw before that, it looked like you disced up to a zone, which should be heavier. Did that have anything to do with it there?
So I thought great putt by Brandon, by the way. Great birdie by him, especially on this hole with this wind. That was awesome. But yeah, I disced up to the zone thinking that it wouldn't be affected by the wind as much. But I mean, you still have to play smart with it.
Mm-hmm.
I still kind of put it on a slight hyzer line, and with the wind, anytime you turn the disc over, even
it continues. You're doing a pretty good job of hiding it right here, but you're pretty frustrated with yourself. Like, you're out of the frame, you can't see, but you're pretty frustrated with yourself right now at this hole.
Jacob, I wasn't in the right headspace. I'm not going to lie to you. I think after I missed the putt, or just the layup, I was just going for a layup and it slid down into the creek. I said, this is going to be a rough day. I think you said, well, with that attitude, it will be, or something along those lines. I was like, you know what, Jacob, you're right. It's time to change some things. I think I told you this, but walking up to this next hole, which this hole by itself, by the way, real quick, the whole left side that has the path along it, that's all OB. Path and beyond is OB. Once you get closer to the basket, there is a line. Past the line is out of bounds. That'll come in handy later. And essentially, you've got these massive 2 or 3 guardian trees right off the bat. You need to hit that gap, try to get a decent ways down the fairway, and then try to make this little bitty, almost a mini island back there before you can make a putt.
Yeah, that's what I was going to point out. It really tapers off as you get closer to the basket. So it's a long bombing hole. I mean, it's close to 500 feet. I think I said
typically it plays as a par 4.
Yeah, in the tournament it's a par 3 though, which makes it even more tough for those of us who can't drive 400 feet off the tee box.
Oh, for sure. Well, 400 feet with a low ceiling, but right here was one of my best forehands I think I've ever thrown off this hole right off the bat. I pured my, I say it's a gap. It's a fairly large gap, but whenever you're trying to really give it some gas, I mean, it gets smaller and smaller. And so I think I told myself, I was like, you're better than this. You can play better disc golf than what you're showing. And do you want to talk about what just happened to Devin?
Yeah, a miraculous assist from the light pole here as I slowed it down. He had turned over his forehand too much and it was gonna soar out of bounds, and that light pole said, hey, I got you, buddy, and just pushed it right back in bounds for him.
I've got you, brother Devin. I've never seen anything like that happen in my entire life, and sadly that shot landing on the path, so it's OB on this one. And then Brandon just right in front of this tee pad. He kind of had to saw it off a little bit, couldn't get his full range of motion, but man, what a great shot from him from right there.
Great upshot. Standing in the middle of the fairway here for your upshot. Looks like it's dropping in really good, but it gets a lot of ground play there at the very end, and it's hugging the OB line. We didn't get zoomed in on it, but it was sitting on the out of bounds line, but thankfully there was still a little bit in bounds. The ruling is it's past the line. If it's over the line completely, it's out of bounds, so you were safe.
I was safe. In my group, we were talking about it and kind of deciding what the ruling, should have been for it, and it definitely was safe. Being new to the game and whatnot, I was kind of unsure of what the proper steps were to take on this one, and you brought it up to me. Good run. I mean, he threw that right down the middle, as you saw. Just got a little bit of basket love, but right here I should have taken that meter, composed myself a little bit better, and I actually gave myself a chance for the putt, but instead I just kind of walked up there quick and tossed it. Rookie mistake, Jacob.
Hey, first tournament, it's okay. It was still a good run. I mean, it was You obviously like to see that go in, but right off the front of the cage, which is tough. But it was kind of a recurring theme for most everybody in the rec division, I'm sure, on that Saturday.
Yeah, especially this round. The wind was just, I think, in everybody's head, But I'm grateful that I didn't go out of bounds in this hole, because this was, Brandon, a heartbreaker. But grateful I didn't go out of bounds on this one, especially because it got really tight near this basket.
The OB adds up really fast. So yeah, very fortunate not to go out of bounds there. As you clean up that bogey tap in there, and we're off to hole 9, which is actually your very first ace hole. I don't like the way that sounded at all, but you got your very first ace on hole 9. It's a shorty, 194 feet. Plays just a tad uphill, and that is OB if you go to the right of the path there. So it tapers off. It's a tough green, but it should be a gimme birdie, but it's a little bit tougher than that. You got to throw a touchy shot.
You have to throw a toughy shot. Generally, I like to try to throw something that's skippy, that tries to kind of go up that hill. This one, I just didn't quite give it enough gas going up that hill. I didn't get the skip I wanted. And then Brandon just kind of leaves it off on the right-hand side, and that tree definitely saved him from going OB, so good tree.
Good throw from Austin there. Going to put himself really close to the basket. The whole walkthrough was very brief because it's such a short hole, but there is a Mando right of that tree there on the left with the paint on it, so that prevents just a straight forehand hyzer bomb. Takes that out of play completely, which is a fun little throw if you're not playing the Mando. Getting some love there, riding that out of bounds.
It's just following the pathway, Jacob.
Yeah, just running down, going on a stroll,
Just going to L tap back there.
He's on his way to get some nachos, and he said, "Oh, gotta sit down for just a second. Gotta put this putt in." I believe that was a birdie for Austin there.
Great ace from great birdie from Austin, especially with the wind on that one. It's in the head. The way he dialed it in and was able to get the birdie. So good job for Austin on that one.
Hole 10, one of my favorite holes on the entire course. It's a 257 feet. I do that every time. Par 3. If you've got a forehand, it's definitely a forehand hyzer throw that you just drop down in there to the right side.
Wow, this video quality got incredible, Jacob.
Yeah, had to film this one on my phone because my camera died. But normally there's a giant there on the right side. There's just a lot of overgrown grass and rough, which you can lose a disc in. Thankfully they did some maintenance, and that's gone now, and it actually did not play as out of bounds, which made the hole a little bit easier. And that's what you're talking about right there, I think.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure and verify that this right side, just in case I really had an early release or something, I wasn't going to be considered out of bounds on this one.
Didn't just worry about it at all. Sits it down right in the green.
Right on this little circle's edge they made out of the fallen branches. That was the first time I've seen that, and I thought that was a nice addition.
Yeah, right inside circle. It's pretty much circle one. It's a little bit smaller than that, but Brandon with an errant tee shot there kind of goes off to the right. He's going to find himself behind that tree down there, but should still have room to do a nice little upshot. And Devin with a little bit of an ace run there. It was really fun to watch that one from the catch cam angle. Great throw by him, especially for a lefty. That's a tricky shot for a lefty.
He had a nice S-curve kind of running through there. I'd never seen that angle before. So that was awesome. As soon as he released it from his hand, we all, up on top of that hill, we're like, all right, he's throwing some sauce on this one.
Unfortunately, leaves it a little bit too high. Can't get that birdie. Here's your birdie look.
Right on the edge of these trees. I knew with Austin birdieing the last one, I needed to give this one a run, and thankfully I was able to cash in on this one.
That was a good putt. This is where Brandon ended up after his upshot. Similar look, except he's got a little bit more grass that he's dealing with. And just zips it right past the basket, just missing by not a whole lot. I was behind him. I didn't like the camera angle for that, but
no, he didn't miss it by much, and that is the one thing about his putt. He gives it a run every time, but if it goes past it, it can skirt a little bit. So it was really nice that we had these, fallen logs behind it to kind of catch it for him. Austin able to clean up.
Yep, there we go. And then hole 11 here has also had some maintenance done to it. You can kind of see some of the Johnson grass there on the left of this little path through here. That can get very overgrown, and you can also run the risk of losing a disc. But it's a 232 feet hole, par 3, like everything else on the course. And it's another, I mean, if you've got a forehand, this course is really fun. It's not a super technical shot, but it's a little bit challenging. There's some trees you got to miss right off the bat. It's a fun one. It's a good little ace run hole.
Yeah, this one's a fairly technical shot whenever you're wanting to come in on it, because it's a very, it's really skippy around that basket, and it kind of goes up to a hill on top of it. And on the far right, that whole area is just a creek. So you definitely kind of have to be careful with your shot. And on mine, I thought for a minute I had put it too much on a line and it was going to skip right past it.
Good little kick there for Devin. Yeah, that's good on you mentioning the creek. It's probably 20 feet to the right of the tee pad here, and it goes all the way along close to the basket. So that is something you have to think about, because if you miss right, you're in trouble and you're taking OB strokes.
Yeah, and you mentioned that they cleaned up this hole a lot. They cleaned up that side. Nice upshot by Devin. But they cleaned up that right-hand side of that basket, and so there's no longer all that Johnson grass and trees and shrubbery and whatnot to slow down your disc this time. So you got to be really careful with it.
Yeah, it makes it even a little bit more tricky. And then Brandon finds the hill, and it kind of rolls down just a little bit. Going to be a tougher putt than he would like, but he's got it in him to make it. Devin just leaving it a little bit short there.
If we were to lower these baskets, I think by about a foot, Devin would have had a great day.
I think if you lowered them by about 5 or 6 inches, a lot of those.
Yeah, that's true. This one I was a little disgusted with myself with, Jacob. I'm not gonna lie. That one should have been a birdie look. It wasn't a hard putt. Just I didn't give it enough trust. Went to the right hand side instead.
It's definitely one you want to get.
For sure. Oh, for sure. Then Brandon, I love it. The man gives his run no matter what. He's kind of out where I'm at now, and thankfully I was able to make my comebacker.
Mm-hmm.
And Brandon lines it up.
Gets it to go.
And he cashes in as well. Yep.
Hole 12 here is 301 feet long. Yeah, it's a little bit uphill right off the bat with some guardian trees that you have to miss, so it is a little bit of a tricky release off the drive. And there is a path just behind the basket there that plays as OB. And I want to give a shout out to Asa Marava. I haven't met him yet, but he actually got an ace on this hole. And this is an incredibly impressive ace to get. So shout out to him for that.
Amazing shot for him to be able to get that ace. Because like you're saying, that right-hand side gets really tricky with those guardian trees. And on this one...
begging for that to sit down.
I know. I was too. From back there, you kind of see it turn around a little bit. And I thought I had a chance to come back, but I juiced it. I had no idea I gave it that much.
Great drive from Austin there.
Yeah. Austin definitely had a better drive, much better control with his power on this one. So good shot by him.
That's a good landing zone too. I think if yours could have landed right about there, it probably wouldn't have skipped all the way over the walkway there.
That was the game plan, Jacob. And then Devin just right there doing what a lot of people do, hitting those early trees right in the middle of the fairway.
Looks like a good drive from Brandon here. Didn't have the catch cam, unfortunately, but he should have a look.
Mm-hmm. I think Brandon also went out of bounds, Jacob, on this hole. I think he also gave it some gas too.
It definitely had the speed to go. Keep going. So we'll see here in just a second. Yep, it looks like he's taking his meter relief.
Mm-hmm. He gave it a good run. He was close to saving that par. And honestly,
you've got quite the look from back there.
Yeah, it was so close. I thought I was gonna save it, Jacob. My heart kind of skipped a beat for a second, and then just this left side chains, they're not very forgiving. But then he just skipped off the left side of the basket again. I really appreciated.
Tough.
The heart.
Go ahead.
The heart doesn't feel good about that one either, Jacob. This whole hole, you kind of want a chance to be able to get back. The OB strokes, they add up obviously, and then the comebacker putts that you don't sink. It's just at the end of the day, all you see are plus signs, and that's not what you want.
Yeah, a potential par save turned into a double bogey real quick. Mm-hmm. Hole 13 is typically the most aceable hole on the course. It's only 217 feet, just a smidge downhill, and it typically does not play as an island, but for this tournament, they put these nifty hay bales out there and made this
Love 'em.
very challenging hole. I'm coming up on the drop zone over here on the right side, which does give you a pretty good chance to save your par. It's not an easy shot by any means. That is circle one. So I mean,
No, I like the way they did this, Jacob. They give you a chance to be able to save it. It's not an easy putt by any means, but it's a makeable putt to be able to save your par if you do go a B.
Unfortunately, this is a. Oh, did we have a headwind here? Yeah.
I think it was a right to left.
Okay.
We had a right to left wind, so when you saw Austin's right there, never had a chance to come back over it, just kept pushing it down.
Yep, he's used to it flexing back for him, and it just never did. And then, man, this is just a heartbreaker right off the hay bale.
They couldn't have set these hay bales up any different. Maybe alternating them one or two, and then this one.
But one of the craziest wind play I've ever seen, and then it hits the top of the hay bale.
This is not the kind of rewind you want to see, guys. You'd rather see it just land within a couple feet. But look how far that drops.
20 feet, just pushes it down and gets a little bit of a lift. It was crazy.
No, and then you think it's going to save, and then just smokes the top of that hay bale.
Watch the play that Brandon's gets from the wind, too. It does something pretty crazy as well. Pushes it down and gets a lift at the end, and he's thankfully parked right underneath the basket.
He had an awesome shot. I really wish rewind. Whoa.
Well, you guys will hear.
Oh, I like it.
I left in the audio from James and Jensen and Jamie because they were just going crazy. We couldn't believe what the wind was doing.
Oh, I think we all were too. We were just amazed. Austin trying to get his par save on this one. He gave it a good run, but just not quite enough to get it there.
Yeah, it was a good little hyzer look from him. That was a little bit different style than what he normally putts, but he put it really close. Did you tickle the chains there just a little bit, or did we airball?
Hey, we don't need to call it an airball, but I think it was still close. just
back there.
No, I started it off down the middle, and from that far away, I should have. Oh no.
Yeah.
Brandon it's the sound you don't want to hear in Austin. It's the sound you don't want to hear in disc golf, just hitting that upper band. And I think Brandon right there basically tapping in for his birdie. Great hole, getting a couple back on the competition. So good for him.
Yeah, definitely gaining strokes on the whole field for everybody that missed the island. Hole 14, it's one where you can kind of unload the backhand. One of the few holes you can throw a backhand on if you want to. 347 feet. Trees that you have to miss all along the way, but there's definitely lines. I showed you the left-hand line if you want to do a forehand, which most of the card is going to do. There's a path there on the right side from the tee box that plays as casual, but there is an OB line that goes into a bit of a ravine, which unfortunately I found myself in a time or two. So it can come into play.
Something to note, I didn't think about this just because Hoyt Grove is a fairly forehand dominant course if you have it. But our card as a whole, or this card, I think everybody, for the most part, other than myself, because I kind of switch off on both, really favored the forehand in their everyday play.
Mm-hmm. Which the course kind of dictates it a little bit. This is one of the few holes that I would personally do a backhand off the tee, but if you can throw a forehand like that, there's no reason to.
This was one of my first forehands. I really felt comfortable and really good about it. Today, I was able just to unload. It stayed flat. I wasn't able to get the skip, you want to see on the right-hand side, getting closer to the basket, but still close enough to give myself a chance on laying it up.
I love Austin's flex forehand that he's got. The turnover, it comes back. It's really nice. And then Devin's approach forehand it's hard to beat. Like
it's pretty salty, Jacob.
Yeah, that was awesome.
No, the man's got it dialed in from right there.
Brandon really does too. From a knee right there, that is a very difficult shot that he had to keep low. That's why he went to the knee, and then gets one of the most unfortunate rolls that we saw the entire day.
She giveth and she taketh away. She gave on the last hole, birdie. She kind of took away a little bit on that roll on the one before.
Great upshots from the whole card right here. Let's see if Jake can connect as well. Giving it a little run. Why not?
I love the jump putt or the step putt for an approach shot, Jacob. I think it's more controlled. I have more, just left side chains again. Not very favorable whenever you're trying to, sink it in from that far out. But everybody now is fairly close to the basket, so we should all just be able to kind of tap it in.
And this will actually round out the the back 9, if you will, or the final 9. As everybody kind of taps in their putts here. Right now, Jake is tied at 15th at +8. Austin is at 9 over, Brandon at 10, and then Devin at 16. I actually didn't look up what their places were because this was primarily for our guy Jake here. But here's a look at their scorecards, and a lot of fun at Hoyt.
It was a lot of fun, Jacob. First time being able to play the tournament layout at Hoyt. It was a completely different beast than usual. The wind kind of helped out with that, made it a little more challenging. But I've never played the OB like the way it was. And I think it was a good mix. I really did. I think they made the course a lot more challenging, a little more fun.
Here's a little look behind the scenes. That was my younger brother, Jamesoverton.
That's my sweet wife right there.
Yep. And then that's me running the shoulder mount. So, thank you guys for watching the coverage. We've had a lot of fun with this so far. We're looking forward to the boomer rounds, where the play is a little bit, the scores are a little lower. I guess we should say it's way more wide open. So game plan kind of has to change up a little bit because of the wind. But thank you guys so much for the views that first video got. I mean, 300's nothing crazy compared to, other things out there, but
it's nothing to scoff at either, Jacob, especially for the first couple.
Yeah, we'll see if we can't keep going higher and higher. Jake, thanks for joining me on the commentary. It's been a lot of fun to watch your play, and I'm looking forward to Boomer.
Thanks, brother. It's been fun being on this end of it. I've enjoyed being able to go back and look at it. Some of the moments hurt a little bit, but some are fun to relive. It's been fun just being able to talk disc golf on this end, seeing the rest of the card mates play, have this end or side of it with you. I really appreciate you recording. It was a lot of fun, and just me and you being able to kind of talk as it was going on. It made my first disc golf tournament a lot of fun.
Right on. I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. I think the 2 videos at Boomer are actually going to be on James's channel. I might have them as well, but I'll link James's channel down below. If you're not subscribed to him yet, go ahead and do that. You can subscribe to me too. There's going to be more stuff coming out. Hopefully, some cool opportunities. Maybe in a future Stillwater tournament coming up. Maybe a little teaser there. So, yeah. Thank you guys. We'll catch you next time.
Catch you guys on the flippity flip.
Flippity flip.